Picture yourself settling into a comfortable chair, the screen flickering before your eyes, and your curiosity instantly piqued by the mere mention of conspiracy theories surrounding the British royal family, one of the most globally recognized institutions whose mystique spans centuries of tradition, pomp, and controversy. It's a family that has over time become an almost mythical presence in our collective consciousness, the ultimate embodiment of aristocratic grandeur and regal continuity. But perhaps what truly elevates them to a whole new level in our imaginations are the countless rumors, legends, and theories, some of which are so outlandish that we can't help but be both amused and enthralled. Tonight, I'd like to take you on a winding journey through 20 of the wildest, most audacious conspiracy theories to have ever emerged about kings, queens, princes, and princesses alike, all while inviting you to momentarily suspend your disbelief and allow yourself the slightest indulgence in the possibility that behind the elaborate palaces, glittering crowns, and carefully guarded traditions, there might be some truly bizarre secrets swirling through the corridors of royal history. Let's dive right in, starting with one of the most infamous claims that certain members of the royal family are actually shape-shifting reptilian aliens working tirelessly to enslave the human race. Yes, you read that correctly. According to New Age philosopher and conspiracy theorist David Icke, these reptilians have orchestrated the Holocaust, the 9/11 attacks, and practically every major catastrophe in modern history. They maintain human disguises, he asserts, only revealing their reptilian forms behind closed doors, and the late Queen Elizabeth II was said to be their primary figurehead. Such tales clearly test the boundaries of credulity, yet thousands of people find themselves captivated, forging online communities dedicated to analyzing every photograph of the Queen for signs of greenish scales or slitted eyes. Of course, mainstream opinion dismisses these claims as bizarre nonsense, but they live on in the darker corners of the internet, fueling an endless supply of memes, videos, and self-published pamphlets that feed off the notion that a globally recognized family operating under centuries of tradition could actually be an alien species. It's truly one of the strangest theories you'll encounter, but it's far from the only one. So let us press forward. Leaving behind the reptilian speculation for a moment, we step back into the 16th century to examine a rumor about Queen Elizabeth II, historically renowned for her intellect, her cunning political maneuvers, and her decision never to marry, earning her the famous moniker the Virgin Queen. But a centuries-old rumor suggests that Elizabeth might not have been who she claimed at all. The claim, initiated by Bram Stoker, yes, the very same Bram Stoker who gave us Dracula, alleges that the real Elizabeth died young, and to protect themselves from King Henry VIII's wrath, her caretakers replaced the deceased princess with a similarly aged boy. According to this line of thinking, the boy was groomed to rule a secret that could never be disclosed lest the entire monarchy collapse under the weight of shame. While historians dismiss this story as a comedic stretch, some conspiracy theorists argue that the Queen's formidable leadership and academic brilliance were just too advanced to be believed, especially for a woman of her era. This logic is tainted by misogynistic undertones, but once a rumor is out in the wild, it's tough to rein it back in. Indeed, the idea has lingered in obscure forums, often trotted out as proof that many aspects of established history might just be elaborate smoke and mirrors. If nothing else, it's a testament to how the mystery surrounding Elizabeth I and her perceived invincibility still casts a beguiling shadow hundreds of years later. Moving briskly through the annals of time, we find ourselves in the era of Princess Margaret. the younger sister of Queen Elizabeth II, who was every bit the tabloid sensation in her day. Known for her wilder lifestyle and romantic entanglements, Margaret's name often appeared in headlines that hinted at private turmoil behind her glamorous facade. But one of the more audacious theories posits that she had a secret love child with Group Captain Peter Townsend, the dashing divorcee with whom she had an ill-fated affair. Enter the mysterious Robert Brown, who has spent a significant portion of his life arguing that he is indeed the son of Princess Margaret, born in Kenya in 1955. He's gone so far as to approach the High Court seeking access to Margaret's will. According to his claims, the palace has moved mountains to keep his existence hidden and preserve the monarchy from scandal. Though no credible proof has ever surfaced, Brown's story underscores the deep hunger the public has for the revelation of hidden heirs and concealed genealogies, perhaps because the concept of secret royal offspring is irresistibly dramatic, conjuring images of hush-hush births, coded telegrams, and desperate attempts at concealment behind palace walls. Margaret's official story never acknowledged Brown, and it's widely believed that he's chasing a myth. Nonetheless, these speculations remain unwaveringly popular, feeding the narrative that behind each velvet curtain in a royal palace, there is a swirl of covert stories the public may never fully unravel. Meanwhile, rumors circle around Princess Diana like moths around a flame, some of which are heartbreakingly sad, while others push the limits of believability. One example is the claim that Diana and Prince Charles had a secret daughter, conceived through IVF treatments before William's birth, unbeknownst to the wider world. In this version of events, a fertility doctor allegedly fertilized Diana's eggs with Charles's sperm, then transferred them into his own wife's womb out of some twisted sense of curiosity or personal motive. According to the rumor, this mysterious daughter, sometimes named Sarah, grew up in exile, under palace instructions to keep her lineage hidden. Photos occasionally pop up in tabloids or dubious online sources purporting to show a woman who strongly resembles Diana, thus adding fuel to the speculation. While it all sounds suspiciously like a soap opera, the story gets repeated often enough that a handful of people believe it might be true. Yet no evidence supports it beyond the realm of rumor, and conventional wisdom says that this tall tale probably sprang from a combination of our collective obsession with Diana and the timeless fascination with missing heirs that saturates royal lore. Even so, the notion continues to fascinate, forming part of the constellation of myths that swirl around the people's princess, whose untimely death left so many unanswered questions in its wake. Another theory that steps directly into the realm of the supernatural is the idea that Prince Charles, and thus his descendants, might be vampires. This notion arises from genealogical records linking Charles to Vlad the Impaler, a 15th century Romanian prince infamous for his cruelty and widely believed to be the inspiration for Bram Stoker's literary vampire, Count Dracula. Charles has publicly acknowledged this familial connection, even voicing a fondness for Transylvania, which only fanned the flames of public intrigue. Adding to the plot is the presence of porphyria, a rare blood disorder that some royals have allegedly suffered. Porphyria can cause sensitivity to sunlight, among other symptoms. So it's not difficult for certain imaginative minds to take that tidbit of medical information and weave it into elaborate vampire narratives. Of course, mainstream science and logic firmly state that Charles is not actually bloodthirsty or immortal, but the rumor, like a persistent undead creature, refuses to stay buried. people can't resist the idea that an actual prince might have more in common with the legendary Count Dracula than just a genealogical footnote. Of course, female members of the royal family have been a magnet for conspiracy theories about their pregnancies. Both Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, became targets of rumors that they faked their pregnancies and secretly relied on surrogates. Why? Well, apparently because they looked too good shortly after giving birth, or because of certain folds in their dresses that, to some eagle-eyed internet sleuths, suggested a prosthetic baby bump. With Kate, some folks were convinced that her polished appearance, just hours after delivery, was impossible, and therefore had to be staged, while Meghan was accused of using surrogates who lurked in the background, never quite coming into focus in paparazzi shots. The essence of these theories stems from society's collective disbelief that these women could appear so poised so soon after childbirth, ignoring the fact that they likely have round-the-clock personal care. Despite repeated public appearances showing genuine baby bumps and official royal announcements, suspicion clings on, fueled by each new photo or rumor. It's a testament to how, in the digital age, a single camera angle or the slightest patch of fabric can spiral into an avalanche of suspicion that gains traction through online forums and social media echo chambers. In an even darker corner of royal conspiracies, you'll find the allegations that Queen Elizabeth II was a Satanist cannibal who caused children to vanish whenever she traveled. According to this truly disturbing rumor, the Queen and Prince Philip would supposedly land in a country, local children would perform a greeting ceremony, and then some of the kids would never be seen again. In the twisted imaginations of conspiracy purveyors, the royal couple had an unsavory appetite for youthful flesh, a notion that stands utterly without evidence, but which has proliferated in certain extremist conspiracy circles online. It's reminiscent of old European folklore about witches who lure children away, illustrating how deep-seated fears can latch onto prominent public figures. The official record, of course, finds zero basis for these claims, yet the rumor lingers, a chilling piece of modern folklore that occasionally resurfaces whenever a new sighting or out-of-context photo emerges, swiftly accompanied by shadowy allegations of black magic and clandestine ceremonies. Switching gears to the realm of literary intrigue, one theory suggests that none other than Elizabeth Mary secretly authored William Shakespeare's plays. Though multiple alternate authorship candidates have been proposed over time, including Francis Bacon, Christopher Marlowe, or Edward de Vere, the Earl of Oxford, Elizabeth Archer stands out as the strangest and least likely suspect. Advocates of this theory reason that Shakespeare was too undereducated to pen works so steeped in court life and intricate political nuance, while the erudite Elizabeth had the knowledge and poetic flair to do so. More conspiratorial still is the notion that the plays served as subtle propaganda glorifying the Tudor dynasty, meaning the Queen might have used Shakespeare as a pseudonym for promoting her lineage. Mainstream scholars reject this on the grounds of overwhelming evidence of Shakespeare's authorship and the context of London's thriving theatrical scene. Nonetheless, the idea persists that the Virgin Queen was the real bard, a compelling notion for anyone who craves an element of subterfuge behind the creation of the most lauded body of work in English literature. While we're discussing paternal mysteries, rumors have long circulated that Prince Harry might not be the son of Prince Charles, but rather the offspring of James Hewitt, a former cavalry officer who notoriously had an affair with Princess Diana. The tabloids have often published side-by-side images of Harry and Hewitt, pointing out alleged resemblances like red hair and certain facial features, even though Hewitt himself has repeatedly confirmed that his relationship with Diana began only after Harry was born. Despite logic and straightforward timelines, the rumor perseveres, perhaps fueled by the notion that scandal sells, and few stories are more scandalous than a prince being fathered by someone outside the royal circle. It's almost a modern replay of old labyrinthine court intrigues, with the difference that now the speculation is magnified 1,000-fold by mass media and the internet's hunger for salacious tidbits. Even Prince Albert Victor, known as Prince Eddie, a grandson of Queen Victoria, hasn't escaped the glare of suspicion. He has been floated as a suspect in the Jack the Ripper murders that terrorized London's East End in 1888. One impetus for this theory is the correlation in timing. Eddie was alive and in London at the time, and the Ripper was never caught, leaving ample room for speculation. The grotesque violence and the Ripper's mocking letters to authorities have made it one of the most analyzed crimes in British history. And over the years, nearly everyone from local butchers to esteemed doctors has been proposed as the culprit. Yet Prince Eddie's name surfaces again and again, partly because rumors circulated that he was mentally unstable or that he had sinister proclivities. Although historians dismiss the idea of a royal culprit as lacking any real proof, the notion that someone from the highest echelons of society might stalk the slums under the cover of darkness continues to capture the imagination. It is a dark, sensational story too tempting to ignore, even if the official narrative suggests it's nothing but a Gothic fantasy. Queen Victoria herself, considered the epitome of prim propriety, has not escaped the rumor mill. Some conspiracists assert that she secretly had a child with her Scottish servant John Brown, with whom she was famously close after the death of her beloved Prince Albert. Brown is said to have wielded an extraordinary influence, a closeness that alarmed Victoria's inner circle. Over time, the rumored affair gave rise to all sorts of stories, including the possibility of an illegitimate child. A woman named Jean Brown once claimed to be the fruit of this union, even approaching members of the modern royal family to state her case. Official historians argue that Queen Victoria, closely monitored by courtiers and staff, would have had scant opportunity to conceal a pregnancy. Nonetheless, the story continues, another drop in the ocean of royal conspiracies where scandal, romance, and secret heirs seem to be a recurring motif. Coming full circle to Princess Diana, whose life and death remain shrouded in heartbreak and controversy, one of the most persistent theories is that she was pregnant with her boyfriend, Dodi Fayed's child, when she died in that catastrophic car crash in Paris in 1997. Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, became the most vocal proponent of this claim, suggesting the couple was mere steps away from announcing an engagement, and that Diana's pregnancy would have sent shockwaves through the royal establishment. While official investigations concluded that Diana's blood tests showed no trace of pregnancy, some people refused to believe the results, pointing to the suspicious rapidity of her embalming, which they argue made further tests impossible. The theory ties in with a broader narrative that British intelligence and the royal family themselves conspired to end Diana's life to avert scandal. Scores of books, documentaries, and online theories revolve around the minutiae of that fateful August night. From the path the car took to the speed at which it traveled, to the question of why security cameras seemingly failed at critical moments. Despite official inquiries that labeled it a tragic accident, a segment of the public remains convinced of foul play, ensuring the rumor will persist for years, if not decades, to come. Linking Prince Charles and Prince Philip with the secretive Bilderberg Group adds yet another layer of intrigue to the conversation. The Bilderberg Group is real, an annual private conference attended by influential figures from politics, finance, media, and academia. What remains mysterious is precisely what these people discuss behind closed doors and whether they use these gatherings to shape major world events. As soon as the word secret is mentioned, conspiracy theories flourish. From orchestrating wars, managing economic crashes, to controlling who ascends to power in various governments, the group is rumored to hold an almost omnipotent authority. The fact that many high-profile individuals, Bill Gates, Henry Kissinger, and even Bill Clinton, have reportedly attended fuels claims that the world is run by a covert oligarchy. The idea that certain members of the royal family are also involved is hardly surprising, as the monarchy ranks among the oldest and most influential institutions on earth. While there's no hard evidence linking Prince Charles or Prince Philip to malevolent plots, secrecy breeds speculation, and in the conspiratorial mindset, every hidden meeting is a nest of sinister alliances. Shifting to Prince George, Duke of Kent, who died in a plane crash in 1942, we encounter another deadly conspiracy. Some argue his death was no accident, but a carefully orchestrated assassination. Why might that be? Conspiracy theorists point to his rumored support for Hitler, his reputed cocaine habit, and his flamboyant lifestyle replete with romantic entanglements. In a time of total war, any royal who threatened the monarchy's stability or moral standing might, in theory, be neutralized by darker forces within the establishment. The sole survivor of the crash was required to sign the Official Secrets Act, which effectively barred him from talking about the incident, and to conspiracy theorists that sealed the deal, a sure sign of foul play. Yet signing that act was common for sensitive wartime affairs, and mainstream history attributes Prince George's death to a tragic accident. Nonetheless, the swirl of rumors underscores how any significant event in royal history can be reinterpreted through the conspiratorial lens. Speaking of Elizabeth I, let's circle back to the latter half of her life, where she famously declared her virgin status for the entire world. That was an audacious statement in a patriarchal society that prized royal lineage and the production of heirs, and it inevitably fueled speculation that she secretly entertained lovers, from Thomas Seymour in her adolescent years to Robert Dudley later on. Dudley, widely rumored to be the Queen's one true love, spent so much time at her side and enjoyed so many privileges that the court was rife with gossip. The notion that the famous Virgin Queen was anything but virginal proved irresistible to her contemporaries, and modern conspiracists have picked up the thread, asserting that official history merely sanitized a more complex romantic life. Historians note that if Elizabeth had covertly borne a child, we would likely have discovered some record or line of descent, but the magic of conspiracy theories is that lack of evidence can always be interpreted as evidence of a cover-up. Thus, the legend endures, painting a steamy undercurrent beneath Elizabeth's regal veneer. Fast-forwarding a bit, we meet Wallis Simpson, the twice-divorced American socialite for whom King Edward VIII abdicated the throne. In Andrew Morton's book 17 Carnations, speculation abounds that Wallis had an affair with Nazi Foreign Minister Joachim von Ribbentrop, who apparently sent her that titular bouquet, 17 carnations, to symbolize the number of nights they allegedly spent together. Edward VIII's known sympathies for Hitler are well documented. The couple famously visited Germany and were photographed with Nazi officials. Could Wallis have had her own entanglement with the Reich? The rumor merges sensational romance with treasonous intrigue, creating a perfect storm of scandal. Though historians are split regarding the depth of Edward and Wallis's Nazi connections, the notion of her affair with a high-ranking official remains mostly unsubstantiated. Still, It's tantalizing enough to keep people talking, as it combines forbidden desire with a moral and political betrayal of one's country. It stands as yet another example of how the royal circle, once in the public eye, can rarely escape a swirl of sinister speculation. Of course, no conversation about modern royals and wild theories would be complete without addressing Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, who has been a lightning rod for tabloid gossip and online vitriol. One particularly strange claim arose after a TV segment of Britain's Got Talent displayed wax figures of Harry and Meghan in the audience, leading some viewers to assert that Meghan had been replaced by a robot. While the actual story is that Madame Tussauds simply had a promotional piece showing off their lifelike figures, the internet seized upon the uncanny stillness of the wax doppelgangers, and before long, social media posts circulated with alarmist claims of a robotic or cloned duchess. This instance captures just how quickly modern technology and viral media can spin confusion into far-reaching narratives. It's bizarre, yes, but also oddly emblematic of how conspiracy theories now thrive in an environment where anything visually offbeat can spark a storm of speculation in minutes. Similarly, after Archie was born, the official timeline provided by the palace seemed muddled, with some outlets reporting Meghan was in labor at a certain time, only for it to emerge that Archie had already been born hours earlier. This discrepancy fed the rumor that the baby had actually arrived weeks prior, fueling speculation that a massive cover-up was underway. Perhaps Meghan and Harry wanted to savor private moments before the public glare, or maybe the hospital staff miscommunicated. None of that, of course, deterred theorists from spinning an elaborate yarn, suggesting that the child had been quietly living in the palace nursery for much longer, a notion that persists among those who distrust all official statements. In a world where fans expect up-to-the-minute updates, any minor inconsistency is viewed as suspicious. Thus, Archie's birth announcement became one more puzzle piece in the grand tapestry of royals and conspiracies. Finally, we come to one of the more tongue-in-cheek theories that Prince Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle was part of a clever British plot to regain control over the United States. The logic is delightfully absurd. If Harry and Meghan's children hold dual citizenship, then someday, in a wild scenario, one of them might become both a U.S. president and a royal heir, effectively bridging the gap between the White House and Buckingham Palace. It started as a humorous tweet from editor Greg Polowitz, but in the realm of conspiracy theories, even jokes can morph into what-if speculations embraced by certain corners of the internet. It's a testament to how hungry people are for any suggestion that we live in an intricately premeditated world where major institutions are constantly playing the long game. Truth be told, the complexity of modern politics probably makes such a scenario near impossible, but that doesn't stop the rumor from popping up whenever Harry and Meghan's presence in the States becomes headline news. Maybe the monarchy does indeed have a cunning plan for global influence, or maybe it's all just a whimsical fantasy we conjure for our own amusement. At this point, you might wonder why we're so enthralled by these conspiracies. From shape-shifting reptiles to surrogacy hoaxes, from phony pregnancies to elaborate Nazi affairs, the stories beg for your attention, mixing tabloid sensationalism with the allure of hidden knowledge. Part of the reason is that royalty, at its core, is already a dramatic institution. Its members live behind gilded gates bound by centuries of tradition, high-stakes politics, and elaborate ceremonies, all the while attracting global media scrutiny. The secrecy that envelops their day-to-day activities only intensifies public curiosity, with each ambiguous detail or perceived slip fueling the idea that something more must be going on beneath the polished facade. In a digital age, these curiosities multiply at breakneck speed, with each curious photo or half-verified rumor dissected by thousands of experts on social media, forums, and blogs. The monarchy, inherently symbolic and somewhat opaque, becomes a perfect canvas for people to project their hopes, fears, or cynicism about the world's power structures. If we can imagine that lizard aliens or Satanists infiltrated the highest institutions, or that a well-kept secret child might alter the line of succession, we momentarily escape the more mundane realities of everyday life. Furthermore, there's a certain sense of agency or intellectual thrill in feeling like you're in on a secret that the rest of the world, for some reason, can't see. Conspiracy theories offer the promise of hidden knowledge, the illusion that you are among the select few who have connected the dots. Whether the theory is plausible or ludicrous seems almost secondary to the communal excitement of unearthing alleged truths and sharing them, and the royals, with their timeless aura and storied lineages, are perfectly positioned to serve as the epicenter of such swirling narratives. Nonetheless, beneath all the wild speculation and sensationalized headlines, it's worth remembering that the British royal family is composed of human beings, complete with flaws, emotions, personal dramas, and tragedies of their own. While they inhabit a world of pageantry and tradition that most of us can only observe from afar, it's unlikely that they're secretly reptilian overlords orchestrating humanity's downfall, or that they're staging elaborate hoaxes just to toy with the public. Real life, it turns out, can be both more complicated and far less theatrical than our imaginations sometimes prefer. And yet these conspiracy theories continue to thrive, sustained by a continuous cycle of rumor, denial, and further rumor. They are shared in whispers among believers, dissected in comedic detail by skeptics, and sometimes even stir fleeting chatter in more mainstream channels, indicating that a part of us revels in these tall tales, even if we don't fully buy into them. As we draw this marathon exploration to a close, it's clear that the fascination with royal conspiracies is an ongoing phenomenon, unlikely to fade anytime soon. Centuries from now, people might look back at the archives of our internet age and marvel at the bizarre stories we believed, or at least entertained, just as we now chuckle at the idea that Queen Elizabeth III might have been a boy in disguise. In many ways, these theories serve as a cultural mirror, reflecting the hopes, fears, and anxieties of an era, as well as our penchant for weaving elaborate stories around those who wield or symbolize extraordinary power. If you find yourself intrigued or scratching your head, you're not alone. It's natural to be drawn in, if only briefly, by the audacity and creativity of such rumors. Yet it's equally important to engage your sense of critical thinking, and sometimes your sense of humor, when encountering them. After all, stepping into a realm where reptilian royals roam, or where elaborate baby swaps define the line of succession, is both exhilarating and disorienting, a vivid reminder that in our quest for knowledge, humans will always weave myth alongside fact. If you've stayed with me this long, you clearly share a taste for the peculiar, the borderline absurd, and the occasionally thought-provoking realm of royal rumors. So let me extend a warm invitation. If you found yourself entertained, intrigued, or even exasperated by these incredible theories, please show your support by hitting the like button, dropping your own thoughts or favorite conspiracy stories in the comments, subscribing for more deep dives into unusual topics, and sharing this video with friends who appreciate a dash of eccentricity. The conversation doesn't have to end here. Every new perspective or fresh piece of evidence might just spark another layer of debate. Who knows which rumor will pop up next? Whether you're a skeptic who delights in debunking these theories, a believer who sees kernels of truth in hidden places, or someone who simply enjoys a good story, your voice adds to the ongoing tapestry of intrigue that keeps these narratives alive. In the end, we can step away with a richer sense of just how imaginative and unrestrained the human mind can be when it's inspired by a combination of tradition, power, secrecy, and the undeniable allure of the British Crown. Thank you for watching and reading through this long expedition into the realm of bizarre conspiracies. And until we meet again, stay curious, stay questioning, and remember that sometimes the wildest stories say more about us than the people they claim to expose. Now, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and share, because you never know who might be looking for exactly this kind of deep dive into the weird and wondrous world of royal conspiracies. After all, reality might be stranger than fiction, but the conspiracies we craft can be infinitely stranger still. So keep your eyes open, your mind inquisitive, and I'll see you the next time our paths intersect on this fascinating journey.